Hello everyone, let's get started. So in today's video we continue talking about AWS services. So in the last video, according to all AWS recommendations, we secured our root account, also created an admin user, which will be used by us for all administrative stuff. So basically we'll work with AWS using that admin user. So if you haven't watched that video yet, or you don't know how to do the actions I have just mentioned, so on the top right corner there should be a link to that video, so I would really suggest to watch it. Other than that, let's continue. So we have logged in into AWS Management Console, as you can see. Also, as you can see, I'm using that admin user I created. So once again, so root account is not recommended to be used for daily activities. So we'll use admin user, and today we'll start talking about AWS fundamentals. So today we'll discuss what a region is, what an availability zone is, and we'll start talking about VPC, virtual private cloud. Okay, so first of all, so AWS provides its services to customers worldwide, and that means that it doesn't serve all customers from one particular data center, but there is a lot of data centers owned by AWS, which are spread around the world, right? So, and if we take number of data centers, which are geographically located near each other, then we will have a region. Yeah? So let's say for now we are in Frankfurt region, as you can see here, and meaning that if we will use services provided by AWS, they will be served or created in this Frankfurt region. So underlying Frankfurt data center infrastructure and resources will be used. Right, so most of the resources and services provided by AWS, they are region specific, right? So for example, when we use virtual machines, these virtual machines will be created in a specific region which we specify. And also what we should keep in mind once we start using something, we will need to carefully think about in which region we would like, for example, this virtual machine to be launched. Because for example, if the majority of our customers are from US, so it's not, well, very good to create a virtual machine in Singapore, for example. We would like to have this virtual machine in US region, right? And another thing worth to mention that not all of AWS services are available in each region. So there are some specific services which are available only in some specific regions. So mostly that applies to some new services, which AWS starts to roll out, and in the testing phase, these services are available only in only few regions, right? Okay, so that would be a short introduction. So to switch the region, we can do that from drop down here on the top right corner. And here you can see all regions currently available. So you can see that there are 4 regions in US, 6 regions in Asia Pacific, 1 in Canada, 5 in Europe, 1 in Bahrain, Middle East, and 1 in Brazil. So the main region is considered to be this one, North Virginia. So basically all services which are available, or almost all services which are available on AWS, they are available in North Virginia. So that's the biggest region. Yeah, and let's talk about more granular split of AWS resources. So we have a region, yeah, and in region we have multiple so-called availability zones. Yeah, so availability zone, so that's a next step of granularity of AWS data centers. Yeah, so availability zone, it's a couple of data centers which are isolated from other data centers from different availability zones, isolated in terms of infrastructure and resources. Yeah, so if something goes wrong with this availability zone, so for example some networking issues, all other availability zones will not be affected. Yeah, so when we talk about redundancy, fault tolerance, then we create some services or use some resources that would be beneficial to have them in multiple availability zones, right? So if something goes wrong with one availability zone, another one will be still available, right? And now let's talk about VPC. Yeah, that's virtual private cloud. So that's the basics for networking infrastructure provided by AWS. So we can access it either typing it find services, VPC, or here from services dropdown we have basically AWS services grouped by purpose. Yeah, and here in networking it should be networking, yes, network and content delivery, VPC. Okay, let's click it here. Okay, and here we can see a dashboard. So under which we have our VPCs. So basically, what VPC is, that's virtual network, yeah, in which we will launch all our network-related resources or resources which use underlying network. Yeah, so like virtual machines, which we'll talk about in the next videos. So by default, there is always a VPC created for you by AWS in each region. Yeah, so if I, for example, switch to Canada, so you can see we have a default VPC, and that applies to any region. So in any region, there is one default VPC created for us, but of course we are not limited to that default VPC. We can have as many VPCs as we would like, yeah, just by creating a VPC. So we are not charged for creating VPCs, yeah. Test VPC. The most important part is related to IPv4 CIDR block. Yeah, so that's basically a range of IP addresses which will be allocated to our VPC. Yeah, so this range should be from private IPs. Yeah, and the CIDR block length could be starting from 16 bits up to 28. Yeah, so we can't create a CIDR block with the mask which is less than 16 bits and more than 28. Okay, let's create it like this. Okay, 16, we don't need IPv6, and tenancy. Yeah, so what the tenancy actually is. So default tenancy, it means that it's a shared tenancy, meaning that our virtual network infrastructure could share the same physical underlying network. Yeah, so that's the default tenancy, as we can read it here. And dedicated, meaning that this infrastructure will be dedicated only to us, right? So let's keep it default. Yeah, great. Okay, and as we can see, we have multiple VPCs, and also, yeah, what you should pay attention to, that there are two VPCs right now, test VPC and mine VPC, with IPs overlapping. Yeah, so that could be the case. As you saw, I could create that without any problems or errors. Yeah, so you should keep an eye on that. Yeah, so if you will try to use multiple VPCs with overlapping IP addresses within the same region, so will you face any problems? No, you will not. Yeah, so that's a thing. Yeah, because each VPC, yeah, within a region, it's isolated from one another. Yeah, so this test VPC is completely isolated from this VPC, my VPC. Yeah, so that's why it's not a problem that these IP addresses overlap, right? And furthermore, each VPC should be divided into subnets. Yeah? So if a VPC represents a region, then subnet actually is mapped to an availability zone. Yeah. So for example, our default VPC contains 6 subnets by default. Yeah, one subnet per each availability zone. Yeah, so in North Virginia we have 6 availability zones. So that's the biggest region. So 6 availability zones. Yeah, and as you see, each subnet is mapped to one availability zone. Yeah, so can multiple subnets be mapped to one availability zone? Yes, we can. Yeah. Can we map one subnet to multiple availability zones? No, we can't do that. Okay, so in the next video, we'll talk about how we actually split our VPC into subnets, yeah, how we map a subnet to a availability zone, yeah, and what is the difference between public and private subnets. Okay, but for today, that would be all. Thanks to all for watching. Hopefully this video was interesting and useful for you. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't done that yet. You can press like if you like that video. Still, if you have some questions, something is not clear for you, you can also drop a comment under the video. I will answer to you. Don't forget to visit my website, available at dataguru.guide, where you can find some interesting posts related to big data technologies, AWS cloud, and Java programming language. Okay, next video will be available on Wednesday, so after 3 days. But for today, that's all from my side. Thanks to all for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.